everyone, it's Shell from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be using some products from Hero Arts that I got in the last haul video. This die set here is called the Box of Chocolates Fancy Die set, and I cut them all out of white cardstock with the exception of the wrappers. We'll cut them out of vellum. I did have to cut the heart out twice because you need a bottom to the box and a lid for the card that I'm going to do. You could do one or the other. If you just do the top and make it look like it's a closed box of chocolates, you could definitely do that. Or you can do just the bottom box without the top and, to show the candies. So I decided to cut it out all from white cardstock. You could cut it out from colored cardstock and it would save you a lot of time because this definitely did take a while. But we're going to be using Distress Oxides and Copic markers to color these die cuts in. So for Distress Oxides, I am using Kitsch Flamingo and Picked Raspberry. I decided to save on my Copic markers and use the Distress Oxides to color in these two hearts because they are the larger pieces. I did add a little bit more of that Picked Raspberry in the center of this heart because I wanted it, that's where the candies are going to sit, so it would be darker underneath if you see any of that. And then for the lid, I did the exact opposite. I did darker around the outside and then put a spotlight on the middle. Now to get to the Copic marker coloring. Like I said, this is a very long video and was very long when I went to edit it. I did leave some of the coloring in, not all of it. I have had Copic markers for a little while, and sometimes I sit down and I really think about, where the shading should be and where the highlight should be. And then other times I just sit down and color and do what I think looks right to me. So this is one of those times where I kind of just did what looks right to me, but I wanted to leave it in case you wanted to go through and see how I colored any of these in. So I kept in, I think, one of almost every single candy because there were two of them that I colored in for each type of candy. There were two of them. So I'm using R89, R59, and R39 to go ahead and color in this bow. So I'm just mapping out where my lighter and darker sections should be and then filling it in and going from darkest to lightest and then lightest to darkest again and just going back and forth until I'm happy with it. I know that there's probably a better way to do this or probably, a more professional way too, but I just, like I said, kind of just do what looks good to me and I don't stop. I stop when I'm like, okay, this looks good. And then, you can always go in and add highlights with some white gel pen or go back in and add a darker marker to add some of the shadows. So while you're watching me color, I thought that I would do a little bit of story time because I have not done that in a while. And I know I haven't been posting videos regularly, especially after the countdown to Christmas. That took a lot out of me. Like I said in the videos, I really was struggling and doing a lot of the voiceovers right before they were posted. I had the videos done, but then editing and doing all that stuff, it does take a while. And it just took a lot out of me. I've also been traveling a lot for work. Last week, I had 4 appointments. And the week before I had 2, which one of them got canceled. And then I've had a ton of appointments since November. November really started kicking it off. But after the new year, I really had at least 2 appointments every week. And then last week was 4. So there have just been a lot of things and traveling. I was supposed to travel up to Albany. I think I said this in one of my videos. I was supposed to travel to Albany. My flight got delayed. And then finally I canceled it. Did the appointment over the phone. My broker people were there, so that was good. And then my call on that Friday, I was supposed to go 3 hours west, and it ended up getting canceled because there was a snow squall out that way. So you have to make that up. So I have a lot more appointments that are coming up over the next couple months. Was supposed to travel to Boston next month, and actually we're doing that virtually. So I'm kind of glad because it's a lot to ask somebody to watch the kittens and Lucy, because Lucy needs Cosequin every morning and the boys will eat her food. So we have to have, somebody come over that can be here for about half an hour while she eats her food, because she doesn't like to eat it all at once. So it is pretty difficult when I do travel for extensive periods of time. And I do have a lot of travel coming up. Some of it is just a day trip, and then others are overnight and some are a week. So lots of things coming up. We do have a family vacation that is coming up. So looking forward to that. I've been at my job for 6 months now and haven't taken a day off yet. So that is going to be a very needed vacation, and very much looking forward to it, to be in the sun and warm weather, and a drink in my hand and by a pool. So very much looking forward to that. So that's coming up in the next couple months. So for the kittens and Lucy, the kittens are 9 months old, which is crazy. It feels like I can't remember a time really when they weren't here. I remember when I first brought them home, and I look at Oreo, and Oreo was the teeny tiny one, and I sat on the floor and cried because I had to feed him by a syringe, and I never thought that he would grow or gain weight, and I was so worried about him. And now I look at him and he's the fattest of all 3 of my cats. And so it's just funny how, how things change in such a short period of time. February will be a year for Fred. So that was, that's, it's always in the back of my mind. And that was actually when I was supposed to be traveling, and we were able to do it virtually. So I'm kind of glad I'll be home and get to spend the day with Lucy, because that was a hard time for her and I. And I know she doesn't get the concept of time, and she doesn't get that that'll be a year, but I know it. And I just think that it'll be hard for me. And I just like to be here. She has kidney disease, which was the same thing that Fred had. But she's eating her food. She eats the boys' food. She eats her treats. She eats the boys' treats. She begs for food. She is going up and down the steps. She'll be 20 and a half. I think it's February or March time frame. She'll be like 20 and a half years old. So that's pretty amazing. And for that old of a lady, she's doing really, really well. And the boys are just wild and crazy, and she tolerates them, which is really great. And they annoy her, and when they get too close, especially when she's eating, she definitely lets them know she's definitely queen of the house, and they know it. So that's kind of what's been going on here, and I apologize for not posting as regularly as I did before. It's just work has been crazy. A couple things have happened with the house, and maybe I'll share that a little later. And that's just been the house stuff has been very stressful. Just being an adult life and a homeowner, and those kind of things. And it just, crafting has taken a back seat to a lot of other things that are going on in my life, and I'm trying to get back into it. So I also wanted to tell you, normally my nails on here, or my actual nails on here, this video that I have, I got the Olive and June press-ons. So I got the glue ones first, and I had them for Thanksgiving, and they didn't even last a day. I was so disappointed. So I wrote back to them, because I gotten 2 pairs, and they refunded me, and they sent me these and another pair, and these are the tab ones. Now, they're short, and I usually keep my nails pretty long, so I wasn't sure what I was going to think about these ones, but let me tell you, they lasted 2 weeks. Amazing, and didn't come off. And because I was thinking, oh, it's just the press-on tab ones, and I feel like the old Lee press-on nails that we had when we were little, and they would fall off all the time. These did not. One of them I didn't put on as well as the others, and it kind of started to come off after 2 weeks. But I shoveled snow in them. I actually hit my nail. I had gloves on when I was looking for my boots, and I hit my nail, and it stayed on. So I do actually get, earlier in the video, I got some of the red Copic marker on them. And this is kind of why I was telling you all of this, is that it does come off with some nail polish remover. If you just put a tiny bit on a Q-tip and then just dab at it, the color came right off. So I am able to use these again. They do have refill tabs that you can buy, the sticky tabs, and you can continue to use them as long as they look good, and you can paint them as well. So definitely great. I can't wait to wear the other set. The other ones I probably will put on for Valentine's Day. They have little hearts on them. Okay, so back to the die cuts. I decided to use the Hero Arts white lacquer pen to add some detail to some of the images, and it just did not work. I don't know what happened. There was too much air in it or water in it, but it came out very runny and didn't stay where I put it, which is the purpose of the pen. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to some white Nuvo drops and add the detail to these pieces of candy, and that worked out so much better. So anywhere where I wanted it to be white but with a little bit of dimension, like it looked like it had icing on it, I went ahead and did that. You could use some pink to add some more pink to these because there's not really any color to them. So you could definitely do that, especially for, Valentine's Day. You could do pink or red or whatever you wanted to for this, but I decided to just go with the white. While we're waiting for all of that to dry, we're going to go ahead and cut out the wrapper pieces from vellum. So there's 3 that are included in this, and I ran that through my die cut machine a couple of times. I think it ended up being 12 that I cut out and glued onto the bottom of the box, or the inside of the box. I used my Bearly Arts glue to add a small dot of glue to the bottom of the wrapper, and then I'm going to place it down. I can do this because all of the candies are going to be on top of it. If you wanted to have some empty wrappers, like candy was already being taken out of the box, what you can do is tuck it underneath one that has a piece of candy on top of it, and then glue the pieces that are going to go underneath the other wrappers. That way you can't see the glue on the bottom of it. Or if it doesn't bother you that much, you can go ahead and add glue to the bottom. You can see, especially in the top left-hand side, that little dot that's there, you can see the glue. They do make vellum glue, and I think tape runner would be a little bit less obvious. So you could try either one of those using a tape runner or using special vellum glue. But pretty much every glue that I found, you can see through the vellum. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that same glue to glue all of the pieces of candy down into place. And I love the way this came out. I thought this was so cute. I had been eyeing up this for a little while. I think this is from last year's release, and I saw a couple people do videos with it and thought it was really, really cute. Because I am a Hero Arts kit subscriber, they do offer some products every single month that can ship to you for free with your order, and they give you a discount on it. And this was one of the ones for this month, or for January's, and I was like, well, this is absolutely adorable and I've wanted it, so put it in my cart and purchased it. And I'm really, really glad I did, because you don't have to just use this for Valentine's Day. This can be for any time. You can use these candies outside of the box. You can use the hearts outside of, it being a box, because it's just a heart with some stitching on it. I think it would look really pretty with sentiments on it. It actually goes really well with the die that we're going to use after this. Now that all the candies are glued into place, we're going to work on the background. So I'm going to be using that background die that I got in the last order. It was also one of the ones that was, I think, from last year, and it was on sale for the Hero Arts kit members. And I die cut it out of some white cardstock, and all of the pieces stayed in there. So I'm using some Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide to ink the entire thing up. You can see that one piece fell out. Another one actually falls out later. The one on the left-hand side doesn't matter because the candy box is actually going to cover it. The other one we will have to glue back into place, but I put the box lid underneath the box just to see how it would look on there. And then we're going to glue those together and then glue them onto the card front. So I didn't ink the entire thing up, but because you're not going to be able to see the middle of this piece, but I inked up all of the edges a little bit darker and then faded it off to the lighter and towards the middle. I love the way that pink and teal look together. I just think this was so pretty. I think the teal makes the pink pop. And if you wanted another idea for what you could do with the heart from the fancy die set, you could actually take it and place it over top of this background. It's a little bit larger than that heart, so you could have a nice sentiment on it. You could pop that up. You could put it underneath and then put the background over top of it. You could have a sentiment, an image, just some nice embossing, stenciling on top of it. There's a lot of different things you can do. I think these look really nice together. I glued the background to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base, and then I'm going to pop that little piece back into place using that same Bearly Arts glue. And there's the card front, but we're going to add a sentiment to this. The small stamp is from the Hero Arts January 2023 My Monthly Kit, and I found a piece of white cardstock that I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that onto. It is a really, really tiny, skinny sentiment. It says, "Warning, contains love," and I'm using my, I think this is the My Favorite Things black ink. It's either that or Lawn Fawn, I can't remember, to stamp that sentiment down. And then we're going to trim off the edge and then use some of the same Peacock Feather Distress Oxide to go around the edges. Just a warning, the ink was not dry on that, so some of the ink does smudge a little bit in the middle, but you can still read it, so I wasn't going to redo it. The last thing that I'm going to do for this card is figure out where I want the sentiment, and then I'm going to add some foam tape, pop that up, and then place it onto the front of my card. And once that is secured in the bottom right-hand corner of my card, that will be the project for today. So I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is longer than a lot of my videos have been recently, but I appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below, and I'll see you again real soon for another video. Bye!